Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So guys, we're talking winners and losers in terms of the Nigerian governors of individual states, but I can hear you respond already that a plague on all their houses, that they are all losers. But nevertheless, there's been a ranking of performance till date for this year. As guys, I bring you this top and bottom 5, how Nigerian governors ranked in July 2020. So now this is a thing that is capturing essentially the month of July, but of course the run up to July. So really the first half of the year really is all encompassed in this. Again, the headline, top 5, bottom 5, how Nigerian governors ranked in July 2020. So now let's now see who the top rankers are and who the bottom rankers are. So first we go to the top 5, and leading the charge is Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State. So Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State ranks as the topmost governor as of July 2020. The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu makes the top 5 for the month of July 2020 on account of his commitment to the vision of building a smart city, principally through urban renewal and rural development. We acknowledge his pursuit of this vision despite the COVID-19 pandemic, which has preoccupied governments across the world. We note the progressive work being done on Ojota, Mile 2, Agege, and Lekki-Epe axis of the city. Though the urban renewal projects have come with attendant hardship, we are, however, convinced that they are necessary sacrifice to ensure better service delivery. So Sanwo-Olu comes top for July, and I think really for the build up to the 6 months of this year, because of course the whole of this year has or at least that half of the year has been surrendered to the pandemic. So the build up to date now, the topmost governor goes to Sanwo-Olu, and the list of achievement that has led him to that #1 spot are detailed in this piece. So up next in the #2 position is Seyi Makinde of Oyo State. So Seyi Makinde of Oyo State comes second, and let's see what caption is used to justify this. Governor Seyi Makinde earns a top 5 mention, having shown a steady commitment to education with several remarkable interventions in that sector. These include school upgrades and access to free education. In dealing with the COVID-19 challenge, we admit the clarity of purpose in its efforts to ensure that schools. The responsiveness of the Makinde administration to the challenges faced by some female citizens of the state who were reportedly stuck in Lebanon caught our attention in July. We note that the timely intervention was exemplary and capable of restoring the confidence of the citizens in the government. So that is Seyi Makinde. I am not quite sure that the reasons that they are giving are sufficient enough. That is just reopening schools, and he sent tickets for some girls to come back from Lebanon because they were stuck there. I'm not quite sure that is enough of a reason to justify, but nevertheless, that is what they are saying. Abdulrahman of Kwara State comes in at #3. Abdulrahman, Kwara State #3. The Kwara State Governor, Abdulrahman, makes the top 5 for the initiation of intervention programs to lift some of the burdens confronting stakeholders in the educational sector, especially proprietors and teachers in private schools. So I think there's an education theme to this now. I think they've given a lot of weight to education type interventions. We acknowledge that his plan to extend grants and interest-free loans to private schools is capable of preventing job losses and reviving a sector badly hit by COVID-19. We encourage the governor to fully discharge this plan, as the board shall track and review his performance in this regard. So education again is what propelled this chap now, the Kwara State guy, to number 3. So up next, number 4 is Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State. So Dapo Abiodun, Ogun State. Now let's now see why he has come fourth. The governor of Ogun State, through road infrastructures which had suffered neglect over the years. We note the current remedial work in communities bordering Lagos, especially in the Sango, Igbado, Akute, Donro, Ishasi, Ojodu, Abiodun axis. It is our belief that the attention given to the roads in these and other communities will impact the economy positively as gains are made in man hours originally lost to traffic and low productivity. So that I can agree with and stand by. So those reasons are really solid enough reasons, because this guy is cleverly rehabilitating a lot of the link roads that links his state to Lagos State, because of course Lagos State is one of the top 10 largest economies in Africa. So is cleverly opening his state up into Lagos State, so that there's a free flow of movement from his state to Lagos State, and thereby enabling a free flow of Lagos wealth into his state. So a very clever move, and I concur with that one. So up next in number 5, Babagana Zulum of Borno State. So he rounds up the top 5 governors for July. Babagana Zulum of Borno State. So now Borno State, of course, the hub of activities. So now let's now find out exactly why he is so highly rated. Governor Babagana Zulum makes a return to the top 5 on account of his continuous sacrifice, sometimes at personal risk, to see the restoration of peace in the insurgency-ravaged state. We note his courage in undertaking obvious life-threatening trips across the state as he identifies with troubled communities, commissioning projects, and leading from the front in an effort to impact the lives of citizens stranded in internally displaced persons camps. We also acknowledge Zulum's daring attempts at speaking the truth to power and aiming to decisively deal with alleged sabotage and failings of the military in the prosecution of the war against insurgents. It is a return to the top 5. So this guy clearly highly rated. So those are your top 5s, the top 5 performing governors in Nigeria for the month of July and the build up to July. So at the top is Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, followed by Seyi Makinde of Oyo State. Abdulrahman of Kwara State comes third. Dapo Abiodun, Ogun State, is number 4, and the top 5 is rounded up by Babagana Zulum of Borno State. So now to the bottom 5, and leading as you would expect, El-Rufai of Kaduna State. So of course one of the worst things, by my own personal reckoning, to happen to Kaduna State, and by their reckoning at least these people who put up this list, at least for the month of July. So now let's now see how this is being backed up. Governor Nasir El-Rufai gets a mention in the bottom 5 due largely to the unabated security challenges in the state. We are disturbed by the continued destructions of property in the southern parts of the state, allegedly by bandits and militias who have proven either too tough or slippery for the government and security agencies. So this is, that is sufficient enough of a reason anyway, but let's just see. Whilst we acknowledge that El-Rufai is largely chief security officer without power of coercion, the governor gets our knock for his repeated commentaries that tend to further stoke the crisis and diminish hope confidence and faith in his administration to effectively deal with the challenges of southern Kaduna. So El-Rufai, of course, steeped in the wool Fulani man, and anytime you hear a lot of these things, he justifies it as a Fulani entitlement. So if the governor of the state is tacitly backing the people that are doing these things, then what hope then the citizens of that state? So he comes at the top of the bottom five. I was going to say bottom top five, but you get the gist. So he gets the top spot of the bottom five of Nigerian governors. So let's now go on to who comes number 2. Udom Emmanuel is the name of the chap that comes number 2, and he is from Akwa Ibom. So now let's now see what Udom has not done or done to get this knockdown. Governor Udom Emmanuel gets a bottom 5 mention over the decision of the Akwa Ibom state government to breach the accountability process by locking out media men out of the state functions on the pretext that some of them had contracted C-19. So they are locking people out of state functions and not enabling the media to report on their activities. This is what is going on in Akwa State, in the Akwa Ibom State, I beg your pardon. So this is what is going on in Akwa Ibom State, and you have to remember that Akwa Ibom is one of the oil states, so they get their 13 to 15% derivative or whatever it is from the oil companies and the government. So an extremely wealthy state that does not want to account and wants to shroud their affairs in mystery. Whilst we note the frosty atmosphere existing in the state between the government and media practitioners over claims of lack of transparency in the reportage of C-19, it is regrettable that the governor will allow his action to be tainted by unwholesome intentions that query his patriotism and commitment to transparency. So I don't really know what that means, so but there you are. It's not allowing the journalisting is effectively what they are saying, and what is they covering up then is the next question. So that is number 2. Number 3, Aminu Masari of Katsina State. So Aminu Masari of Katsina State. So now let's now see what Aminu has done or not done. Katsina is no doubt a state in turmoil. Reports of abductions have become very rampant, leading the populace to embark on protest over the lack of appropriate action by the government and security agencies. The near free reign of bandits and Governor Aminu Masari's lack of grip of the challenges earns him several minuses. We are amazed that despite the presence of various arms of the nation's security forces in the state, the governor has not been able to manage the situation. We hold that the prevailing banditry in the state is a reflection of years of misgovernance and the failure of the government to consciously connect with its citizens, especially the youth population. So this is it really. Effectively what they're saying is in spite of all of the monies that's being pumped into this state, and you have to remember this is Malam Buhari state as well, so in spite of all of the monies that is being pumped into this state, these people are just looting the money and they're not doing anything for their citizens, to the point that the citizens are resorting to self-help. So this is effectively what that means. So up in number 4 is Bello Matawalle of Zamfara State. So Bello Matawalle, Zamfara State is number 4. So now let's go to Bello. Bello Matawalle gets a mention in the bottom 5 for his prodigal spending of 100 million naira on a private university in the state, an action we consider not well thought out. A private university, in our reckoning, is a private business, an investment that should be borne by its promoters. Though the state had argued that it was done to promote education in the state, we reckon that such a gesture could have lifted the sector better if it had been channeled to the many public institutions requiring urgent intervention in upgrade of facilities and faculties. We are appalled that Governor Matawalle might not have considered that his action could open the floodgates to several other requests from private and religious institutions who may be tempted to see him as a profligate Father Christmas. So Father Christmas, of course, this guy now spending state funds in a dead poor state, 100 million naira on a private university. This is just a, it's almost criminal. In fact, it is criminal, not even almost criminal. But then, of course, as I often say, the whole of the Nigerian state is just one giant criminal enterprise. So rounding off the Olodos is an Okezie of Abia State. Okezie of Abia State is the bottom of the bottom. So now let's now see what Okezie has done to deserve this ignominy. Governor Okezie of Abia State gets a mention in the bottom 5 ranking for July 2020 for his unilateral sacking and suspension of 3 local government council chiefs in the state. We condemn the sacking of the chairman of, I'm not going to attempt the name of the local government, so they condemn the sacking of the chairman of a local government, Matthew 1, that is the name of the chairman, Matthew 1, and the indefinite suspension of Aba South and Aba North chairman, Chirichi Nwogu and Victor Ubani, as tantamount to trampling on the principles of the rule of law, due process, and fair hearing in a constitutional democracy. We are concerned that with such actions as taken by Governor Ikpeazu, our democracy faces stunted growth, especially as state governors see local government administration as mere appendages of their office. So there you have it, the top 5 and then the bottom 5, leading from the bottom, Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, followed by Udom Emmanuel of Akwa Ibom, Aminu Masari, Katsina State, Malam Buhari's own governor, he comes in at number 3. Bello Matawalle, Zamfara State, comes in at number 4, and at the bottom of the bottom is Okezie of Abia State. So those are your runners and riders, and that is how they rank. But then, of course, as I said, you will probably think a plague on all their houses. Conversations in the comment section. What says you? The top runners and the bottom runners, especially for the month of July, but essentially for the 6 months half of this year so far. Come share thoughts, but before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Click on like as well because that helps with the YouTube algorithm. Once you've done all the clicking, come into the comment section, then come tell me what you're making of this grading and how these people are ranked. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on with you in the comment section, but here I say peace.